much work to do. But let's celebrate and appreciate Juneteenth with pride and joy and gratefulness. Thank you.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? I know, man, I'm bumping people. My name is James Coleman. I'm blessed to serve as a man of faith, as a husband, as a father, and as the Senator for Senate District 33. I wanted to thank Governor Polis, Representative Harrod, Senator Buckner, Tanisha McQueen, who you have a chance to hear from Colorado Winds, Norman Harris with the Juneteenth Music Festival, and all of you for joining us for this historical moment in making Juneteenth a Colorado state holiday. On New Year's Eve, how many of you remember watching the ball drop with friends as family and friends celebrate? Raise your hands if you remember growing up watching the ball drop with your family. Well, I'll tell you, growing up, my grandparents would have me attend church on New Year's Eve. Instead of gathering in downtown Denver to watch the fireworks as the clock struck midnight, signaling the New Year's arrival. This church service was called a watch night. When I was about 11 years old, I asked my grandparents, what are we watching out for? Instead of watching the fireworks. And Grandmommy and Granddaddy, both laughing, knowing I'd rather see the fireworks outside, taught me the history of watch night. They taught me that on Freedom's Eve, or January 1st, 1863, the first watch night service took place. On that night, enslaved and free African Americans gathered in churches and private homes across the country awaiting the news that the Emancipation Proclamation had taken effect. At the stroke of midnight, prayers were answered as all enslaved people in Confederate states were declared legally free. But unfortunately, as a result of issues with Confederate states, we had some folks, as you heard from Senator Buckner say, that weren't freed until 2 years later in 1865. And so as a result, in the westernmost Confederate state of Texas, enslaved people would not be free until much later. Freedom finally came on June 19, 1865, when some 2,000 Union troops marched into Galveston Bay, Texas. The Army announced that more than 250,000 enslaved black people in the state were freed by executive decree. This day came to be known as Juneteenth by the newly freed people in Texas. So my brothers, my sisters, Juneteenth is more than a federal holiday we recognize in historical black communities like 5 Points, where we line up, we march from Manual High School to go down to Welton Street, we enjoy some good food and some good music. But with all of us working together, Juneteenth will be made a state holiday in Colorado to proclaim that not only are black people free, but that all of us are free. Not only do we desire for some people to have prosperity, but for all Coloradans to have prosperity. For all Coloradans to have access to a livable wage. For all to afford a place to call home. For all to have the confidence to walk into a doctor's office without the fear of lack of coverage for their health needs. For all our children to have access to a high-quality education, preparing them for their future, for our future. Making Juneteenth a state holiday in Colorado is a proclamation to any who live here and any who may have the privilege of visiting our great state that not only does the United States of America say that we are free, but Colorado boldly proclaims the same. So let's not just say it, as I often say in the Senate, let's do this for the state of Colorado. Thank you.
Thank you to my Senator James Coleman, for always bringing it home. We really appreciate you. Next up, we're going to hear from the Colorado Winds members who negotiated this great contract with the governor to ensure that this happens. I just remind you that the last time that we have had a state holiday that didn't replace another, so we had Mother Cabrini Day, which replaced, which one? We don't talk about it. Was MLK holiday. And as the chair of the Black Caucus, knowing that the person who had my seat prior to me, Wilma Webb, fought and fought for 5 years to make the MLK holiday real. Under threat, she actually lost her seat on the Joint Budget Committee, which I now serve on, because she was pushing that holiday. We ain't gonna have that same fight this year, because we've got the governor, right? We've got the House and the Senate and the Black Caucus to make sure that this becomes a holiday. But most importantly, we've got the state workers of Colorado behind us. So without further ado, let's hear from Skip and Tanisha. Come on down.
Thank you, Senator Harrod. My name is Skip Miller, and I'm president of Colorado Winds. I'm also a long-term state employee. I work for the Colorado School of Mines. I am so proud to say that employees from across Colorado have been successfully coming together to secure big wins for working people. This includes securing our first ever contract with the state, and it includes such provisions as a minimum $15 minimum wage, right? Also, annual cost of living wages raises for employees. We are looking at 3% a year for the 3 years of the contract. That's a huge win for state employees. Also, we're looking at victories like helping ensure that we can keep our state agencies staffed and operating to provide the best possible services for Colorado families. State employees also fought to strengthen anti-discrimination protections and to designate this Juneteenth holiday, right? And Juneteenth, I want to say say what others had said before me. Juneteenth is not just a Black American holiday; it is an American holiday, right? It's part of us. This is so important to me. One is an African American who ancestors were maybe some of those that got that word that day. You know, hey, this nightmare might be ending, but also as an American. So with this bill, we're going to ensure that all the people who call this state home honors and celebrates such a critical holiday. It's very important to state employees and something that we all fought for. Growing up I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan, and this was not one of our traditions. So I did, when I came to Colorado in 1981, I was informed and come to find out about the holiday. And as they say, you know, if you don't know, you better ask somebody. So now I know, you know, and so I've been going to 5 Points every year since because it's so important. I've taken that on and I spread the word as much as I can. And so I'm thrilled to be standing here today with our governor, Polis, and all the amazing bill sponsors who have carried this bill for us. This is such a critical part to a broader commitment to diversity in our state. We're needing more of a diversity, equity, and inclusion. And this is a movement to increase fairness and equality in our state agencies. Another part of this fight is going to be closing the pay gap. We know that there are disparities in the opportunities that all of the state employees get. We see that there's disparities based on race, based on gender, and based on other factors, and we really need to be working to eliminate that. And we've got to keep pushing for that, right? So, to that point, we were just here last night with Governor Polis, who signed a bill that for the pay equity study that was commissioned. This was pushed for in our contract negotiations with the state, and we agreed that this was something that we could attack, and the legislature has agreed to fund it. So let's say yes for that. So on behalf of state employees, thank you again to our bill sponsors. And finally, I would like to turn it over to my cohort and one of the people on the bargaining team with us, Tanisha McQueen. Thank you.
Hello, and thank you all for having me today. I'm honored to be here to celebrate the introduction of a bill to create a new state holiday in Colorado, Juneteenth. My name is Tanisha McQueen. I'm a youth services specialist at Marvin W. Fitt Youth Services Center. I love my job, and I love knowing that at the end of the day, I'm making a difference in the lives of Colorado's youth. My hope is that when they leave our facility, they are equipped with the tools needed to be successful, knowledge of coping skills, and the ability to ask for the help they need. I got into this work because I was inspired by my family to step up and make a difference around the world. You see, I was not born in Colorado, but my roots run deep here. My uncle was the first black mayor in Denver, Mayor Wellington Webb, and my aunt was a state legislator, Representative Wilma Webb. She introduced and passed a bill to make Martin Luther King Jr. Day a state holiday here in Colorado, and it is not lost on me today that we are doing the work to create a new state holiday honoring Black history and Black heritage. I moved to Denver to learn my family history better and to learn more about who I am, and that brought me to stand before you now. My family's activism inspired me to raise my voice and stand in my power to make a change in the world around me. It inspired me to start my work in public service, where I'm working with youth who need someone to listen and help them grow. I'm here to help them, but I'm also here to role model. I can't walk into my facility telling these kids to be the change they want to see without leading by example. That's why I joined my union. I know unions are how we could make a real difference, working people coming together as one to win better jobs for state employees and better public services for Coloradans. From the minute I signed the card to be a member, I knew the work was not about me. My activism is not about making the way for a better future for my son. I want my child to live in a world where he can not only survive, but thrive. I want him to be celebrated for who he is and his heritage. And it is refreshing to see progress. Working together with elected officials, like those of you standing up here with me, we can start to see the change we are fighting for. Now, instead of waiting for hopes to come true, it's time to watch them come true. Let's keep fighting together to make the way for a Colorado that celebrates Black people's freedoms and resistance. Let's make the way for a space that honors Black people's unique contribution to justice in our society. Let's make the way for Colorado that works for all of us. Thank you.
All right.
Wow. You know, when you got legacy in the room, you just got to like sit back and listen, and definitely appreciate your leadership and the leadership of your family. Thank you. Well, listen, now I can't wait to hear from this next person, because I got to tell you, I only knew a little bit about what Juneteenth was. And I probably think most of you all, most of the folks out there don't know much about it. You know, I think as a kid, I thought that when the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, everybody was free, and they must have got it on Twitter or something, I don't know. But folks immediately just like left and celebrated and started businesses and, you know, towns and stuff like that, right? And then MLK showed up, right? That's not exactly how history works. It's not exactly how things happen, right? It actually took years before people were truly, truly free. And Juneteenth, June 19th, is a celebration of our true liberation. And while I know of that history, I gotta tell you, the celebration part has often been missed, but not right here in Denver. Not with Norm Harris and team on the job. Norm Harris has brought forth one of the largest Juneteenth celebrations in the country, not the state of Colorado, the country, and has really, truly shown how we can come together as a Denver community, as a regional community, as a state, to celebrate liberation together. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Norm Harris.
Good afternoon. First, I just want to offer my sincere gratitude to Colorado Winds and to the leadership here at the state. I just had sincere gratitude when our great leader, James Coleman, called me and let me know that this work was being done and we were moving this forward. And so I just want to first just offer sincere gratitude to our governor, Polis, gratitude for folks like Wilma Webb, whose shoulders we stand on, who's pushed forward to make sure that we are recognizing the achievements of African Americans here in our state. So sincere gratitude to our leaders who are courageous enough to fight the battles here that we need to fight legislatively to assure that we have equity and we have opportunity for our people. My name is Norman Harris. I'm a fifth-generation Coloradan. I'm born and raised right here in Northeast Denver. For about the last 13 years or so, I've been down in 5 Points helping organize the Juneteenth music celebration, Juneteenth Music Festival. And if I could tell you about 13 years ago, the only thing that we really wanted to do was to assure that our community that was being displaced out of 5 Points had a place to come back, that Juneteenth served as a cultural anchor for our people in Denver, Colorado. That was the sole reason why we were doing it. And if you could tell me today that I'd be standing on the steps of the Capitol with leaders that I look up to, who are leading the charge, doing so many great things, and that Juneteenth would actually be a state holiday recognized, that Juneteenth would actually be a national recognized holiday, that Juneteenth would be one of the biggest and best celebrations that this city has ever seen, I would tell you that, that is my dream. And so what that really says is that with integrity, with passion, with vision, with focus, and with just a lot of love, that we can affect change and we can get the outcomes that we want. So today I welcome our entire city, our entire state to set their calendars for Saturday, June 18th and Sunday, June 19th, and to make sure that you head on down to 26th and Welton and celebrate Juneteenth, because it is a celebration for the day that all Americans were free. So thank you so much for this opportunity. We sincerely appreciate this and look forward to this day becoming a state holiday. Thank you.
All right, and that concludes our speakers today and the press conference. Are there any questions for us today?
What's the process going forward look like to officially leave?
Yes, thank you for that question. So, as you all know, I serve on the Joint Budget Committee, and we have really worked to make sure that the contract that was negotiated between Colorado Winds and the governor is honored. And so, to be clear, there is funding that is needed to make sure that this bill is implemented accurately. We have committed to that on the Joint Budget Committee, and then now the bill works its way through the legislative process. It will start in the Senate, where we'll have a Senate committee hearing on March 15th. Good news, the chair of that committee is Senator James Coleman. We look forward to hearing from community about the importance of this bill at that hearing. It'll work its way through the House and the Senate and onto the governor's desk through the normal process. But we are encouraged by the support that we have of our colleagues and the support of the governor to sign this bill once it gets to him. Thank you for your question. Any other questions?
How long have Colorado legislators been working to officially recognize Juneteenth?
I think that's a great question. We have not seen a bill actually move forward or be introduced to create this holiday. So I'm happy to say that this is our first go at it. But again, it wouldn't have happened without the support of and the leadership of Colorado Winds. Additionally, though, I will tell you that as a legislator, I have been approached by members of our community to move this bill forward. And the pushback that we got, because I wasn't quite on the Joint Budget Committee, was that there was no funding to create a new state holiday. And that was something that was a pretty big hurdle. Without the negotiation, without the contracts, I'm not sure that the bill would have been taken as seriously as it's being taken today.
With it being a holiday, oftentimes when you have state or federal holidays, it can be a time of reflection, like that Juneteenth. What do you want Coloradans, all Americans for that matter, to reflect upon when you do celebrate Juneteenth?
I think it's time to reflect on what liberation truly means, what freedom really means. and how it's not easily accessible to everyone just because we have that word, say, in our Constitution or in our books, right? We actually have to fight for our freedom, and we need everyone to come together for that fight. That's what I want people to think about. But additionally, I want folks to celebrate the rich culture of Black people right here in Colorado and throughout this nation. We are an integral part of the fabric of America, and this is that celebration. And so I do stand by and say, please do celebrate with us in 5 Points, the heart of my district and Senator Coleman's district. But know that there are also Juneteenth celebrations happening across the state. We have a strong one in Colorado Springs. We celebrate in Aurora. We celebrate throughout the state. And I look forward to seeing how folks will celebrate even more once this holiday becomes reality. And I will tell you that once the bill is signed into law, Juneteenth will officially become a holiday according to the bill in 2022. Other questions? Okay. Thank you all so much for coming. Thank you.